Today's story is from Brandon, a viewer who's found himself in a situation he never thought he'd be in. He's been to Pattaya before, more than a few times actually, and always swore he had it all figured out by keeping it transactional. But then one trip changed everything, and now he is looking for advice. So let's get into it. My name's Brandon. I'm 36 years old and from the UK, and yeah, I've been to Pattaya more times than I can count on one hand. 5, maybe 6 trips total. Each time I flew in with the same plan: have a good time, let loose, and leave without looking back. From the beginning, I told myself I'd never be one of those guys who gets too attached. I'd seen and met enough of them, wide-eyed, spending their pensions on girls they barely knew, convinced they were the one exception. I wasn't going to be like that. So every trip, I kept it simple. I'd hit the bars, meet some girls, maybe take someone out for dinner or drinks if I liked them, and that was it. I never saved anyone's number. Even if a girl asked, I'd smile and make up some excuse, and if I ever did cave and add one to my contacts, I'd delete it before I got on the plane back home. That way, there were no lingering feelings, no attachments, no emotional mess waiting for me later. It was fun, clean, and easy. Whenever I was in Pattaya, I was having the best time. I want to be clear though, I never treated any of the girls badly. I understood the game. I knew it was work for them, a job, and I never pressured anyone to do more than they wanted. If anything, I tried to be the kind of customer they didn't mind seeing. I'd pay fair, ask first, and treat the night like it meant something, even if we both knew it didn't. It wasn't about being cold, it was about protecting myself. That mindset worked for me for years. While other guys were sending money across the world and crying into their beers back home, I felt like I had my head screwed on straight. I was always in control. At least, that's what I thought. Looking back now, I realize I'd built this little wall around myself. And it worked, right up until the trip where everything changed, when I met Neesa. And just like that, all my rules went straight out the window. It was my 6th trip to Pattaya, and this time I had timed it perfectly to land right in the middle of Songkran. If you've never been there during Thai New Year, just imagine a full-on city-wide water war. Streets turned into rivers, buckets flying, water guns bigger than toddlers. You can't walk 5 steps without getting drenched. And I loved it. It was pure madness. And for someone like me, coming from grey, rainy England, it was the kind of chaos I looked forward to all year. But even I had my limits. After about an hour of dodging buckets and getting blasted in the face, I was soaked through to the bone and my flip-flops were trying to murder me on every wet tile. I needed a break. So me and a mate ducked into a random bar on Soi 6 just to dry off and grab a drink. That's when I met Neesa. She wasn't outside dancing in the water like most of the girls. She was sitting near the back, dry, scrolling through something on her phone with her head down. In the middle of all the shouting and splashing and neon noise, she had this sort of quiet around her that pulled me in before I even realized I was walking toward her. We started talking. Nothing deep, just small stuff at first. Where I was from, how long I was staying, how crazy Songkran was. She laughed softly and said she hated it, that she only stayed dry because she had a cold. Her voice wasn't loud or playful like some of the other girls. It was soft and steady. She told me she was divorced, that she had a 5-year-old son who lived with her parents up in Isan. I remember nodding politely, not thinking too much of it. That kind of story wasn't new to me. A lot of girls in Pattaya come from Isan. A lot have kids. A lot say they're divorced. But what stood out to me that day wasn't her story. It was the way she told it. No drama, no tears, just honesty. Like she wasn't trying to sell anything. I bought her a couple lady drinks and we sat there talking for almost an hour. It didn't feel like a bar anymore. It felt like I'd just stumbled into a moment I wasn't supposed to have and I didn't want it to end. When we left, I didn't plan to come back. That wasn't my thing. But when I woke up the next day, something felt off. Like I'd missed something important. Like I'd left a conversation halfway through. So I went back, looking for her. She was there, same spot, same quiet smile when she saw me walk in, and that was the moment I broke my first rule. Because normally, I never went back for seconds. But this girl, Neesa, she had me second-guessing everything I thought I knew. I told myself it was nothing, just a bit of curiosity. Maybe I was bored. Maybe I just liked the way she talked. That was all. But then I went back the next day, and the day after that. By the end of the week, I wasn't even going out to other bars anymore. Pattaya was full of temptation, girls, drinks, everything on offer. But all I wanted to do was sit with her. Just talk, just listen. I know how crazy that sounds, especially in a place like Soi 6 where nobody goes for deep conversations, but that's how it was. We talked about music, about food, about what she missed about home. And yeah, we had our fun too, but somehow it was different with her. It wasn't about the transaction anymore. When it was time for me to head back to the UK, I did something I had never done before. I gave her a proper goodbye. I told her I had a great time and I slipped her a good tip, not out of obligation, but because I felt like I owed her for something I couldn't quite put into words. I also didn't delete her number. In fact, I added her online and told her to message me when she got home that night. And she did, right before my flight took off. That was the start of something I didn't plan for. Back home, the messages kept coming. Morning, afternoon, night. Just small check-ins at first. What I ate, what she cooked. Was I cold in England? She even sent me a little video of her with her son, just waving to the camera. It caught me off guard. I'd never seen a girl do that before, not without asking for something first. But Neesa never mentioned money, not once. And that was the thing that started messing with me, because I'd prepared myself for the typical bar girl behavior, the little hints, the guilt trips, the emergencies that magically required money. But Neesa never gave me any of that. She just asked about my day. She wanted to see my dog. She laughed at how terrible my Thai pronunciation was. And slowly, I started looking forward to her messages, started checking my phone a little more often, started smiling when I saw her name pop up. I'd always said I had my head screwed on, that I could handle Pattaya without catching feelings, that I was different from the guys who fell too fast and too hard. But I was already falling, and I didn't even realize how far down I was until it was too late. I wasn't supposed to go back that soon. I had only just returned home, and I had no plans to fly back to Thailand for at least 6 months. That was always my rhythm. Hit Pattaya once or twice a year, recharge, reset, and move on with life. But after a few weeks of talking to Neesa every day, I couldn't stop thinking about her. It wasn't even like we were making big promises or talking about the future. There were no "I love yous," no talk of being together long term. But every time she messaged me or sent a short video or asked how my day was going, I felt like I was back there again, sitting next to her, talking like it was the most normal thing in the world, and eventually I cracked. One night, lying in bed and staring at our chat window, I opened a flight booking site. I didn't even think about it much. I just picked the earliest date that worked with my schedule, hit confirm, and sent her a message. Guess who's coming back sooner than expected? Her reply came almost instantly. She sent a picture of her smiling, followed by 3 heart emojis and, "Really? When?" And just like that, the countdown began. When I landed in Thailand, it wasn't like the other trips. I didn't feel that rush of excitement to get to the bars or the urge to go wild. This time, I walked out of the airport and went straight to her. She came to pick me up at the airport and greeted me with a shy hug. Not the kind I was used to in Pattaya, the over-the-top, rehearsed kind, but something softer, warmer. We spent the next few days together in Pattaya like we had before, but this time there was something unspoken between us, a closeness that hadn't been there before. She wasn't working and stayed with me the whole time. Then, out of nowhere, she asked me, "Do you want to come with me to visit my parents?" I froze for a second. I'd never been farther north than Bangkok. I didn't speak Thai beyond a few words. The idea of travelling to a tiny village in Isan to meet her family wasn't on my radar. Not even close. But she looked serious, not in a pushy way, just hopeful, curious. So I said yes. We took the night bus north. It was a long ride. I didn't know what to expect, but I tried to stay open. When we finally arrived, the village was small, dusty roads, chickens walking around, no tourists in sight. Her parents greeted me like I was a bit of a surprise, which I guess I was. Her mum smiled and offered me food right away. Her dad was quieter, kind of just nodded at me and sat nearby, sipping something from a glass. I could tell he was watching me, trying to figure me out. Whether he was sizing me up or just shy, I couldn't tell. But there was this one moment. We were all sitting under the shade outside, and I caught him looking at me. He didn't say much the whole visit, but his eyes said a lot. And even though everyone was friendly, I had this weird feeling like I was being measured for something I didn't even understand. Still, the trip was good. We visited a local market, helped cook dinner, played with her little boy. He was shy at first, but opened up after a while. Called me uncle. That hit different. That trip wasn't like anything I'd ever experienced in Thailand. No hangovers, no neon lights, no bar girls. Just family dinners, temples, countryside, and a girl who suddenly didn't feel like a fling anymore. As I sat in the back of the bus, heading back south, watching her doze off beside me, I realized this trip had changed something, and I wasn't sure if that scared me or excited me more. After we got back from Isan, things between us felt easier, closer, like we'd crossed some invisible line and now I was part of her real life, not just some tourist dropping by for a week of fun. We spent the rest of my trip doing normal things, going out to eat, walking along the beach, going to the water park, watching silly Thai dramas with her translating bits and laughing when I didn't get the jokes. I still hadn't told many people about her. A couple of close friends knew, but I kept most of it quiet. I guess part of me still felt weird admitting I had feelings for a bar girl. That wasn't supposed to happen, especially not to someone like me. I was the guy who warned others not to fall for the act, the guy who used to joke, "She's not different, she's just better at pretending." But Neesa wasn't pretending, or if she was, she deserved an Oscar. We were sitting at this small cafe one evening, just a quiet corner, and I offered to send her a little money once I got home. Nothing major. Just enough so she could visit her parents and maybe treat them to a nice dinner. I figured it was the decent thing to do. She'd been spending all her time with me, and I wanted to do something in return. But she shook her head. "No need," she said. "I don't want you to think I'm that kind of girl." I was surprised, not because she refused the money, but because of how serious her face got when she said it. She looked almost offended. That kind of reaction was rare in Pattaya. Usually even the most sweet girls wouldn't hesitate when a farang offered to help. Some would try to act humble, sure, but the money still made it into their accounts. Neesa didn't even ask for my help. She only brought up one thing, and it was almost in passing. We were lying in bed later that night when she mentioned that before she met me, there was another guy, a foreigner who used to send her money every month. "He's kind, man," she said, "but I stopped talking after I meet you. I told him no more. I want to be honest with you." It caught me off guard. I didn't know what to say. Part of me respected her for telling me. Another part of me wanted to ask 1,000 questions. How long had she been taking his money? Did she lie to him? Had they been serious? But I didn't ask. I didn't want to break whatever good thing we had going. So instead, I just nodded and thanked her for being honest. And that was the moment I realized I was in deep, way deeper than I ever meant to be. Because even after she told me that, after she admitted there had been another guy sending her money, my first thought wasn't to pull away. It was to hold her tighter. Looking back, I realized just how messed up this situation is. Back home, things didn't feel the same anymore. I went through the routine, woke up, went to work, made dinner, stared at the same four walls. But my head was somewhere else. Somewhere 12 hours ahead, where a girl named Neesa was probably finishing dinner. We messaged and video called every day. Sometimes for 10 minutes, sometimes for hours. I'd be sitting in my room in the dark, while she lay on her bed with the fan going in the background, smiling at me like we were in the same room. At some point, I knew I needed to tell someone what was really going on. Not just, "I met a nice girl in Pattaya," but the full story. So I told a couple of guys I knew who were regulars there, guys who'd seen it all. I didn't even finish explaining before they started shaking their heads. "Mate, you're being played," one of them said. Another chimed in. "Next thing you know, she'll need money for her son's school or her mum's hospital bills. They all start off sweet. Then, boom, ATM mode. I laughed it off, but it bothered me more than I expected. These were guys I'd listened to before, guys who warned me about this exact situation. And now here I was, ignoring everything they'd told me, just because this one felt different. Still, their words stuck with me. I started second-guessing things, reading her messages a little too carefully, wondering if her sweet tone was practiced, if the quiet way she listened to me talk about my day was all part of the long game. I didn't want to believe it, and to be honest, there was nothing she did to deserve that suspicion. She never once asked for anything. If anything, she turned me down more than once when I offered. But it didn't matter. The doubt was there now, planted like a seed in my chest, and every time we talked, I felt it growing. Was she talking to other guys? Was she still seeing the one who used to send her money? Had she just swapped one farang for another? And yet, I still wanted to believe her, because when she spoke to me, when she smiled, when she sent videos of her son running around in the yard, I didn't feel scammed or deceived. Maybe that was the most dangerous part. I kept telling myself I wasn't like the others, that I was smart enough to spot the signs, that I wasn't one of those guys who sent money blindly or ignored red flags just because a pretty girl smiled at him on a video call. But the truth was, I'd stopped thinking clearly weeks ago. We were still messaging every day, still video chatting at night, still talking about seeing each other again soon. But that little voice in my head, the one my friends had planted, was getting louder. And then something small happened. Stupid maybe, but it stuck with me. One night she posted a picture on her Facebook. Just her sitting at a noodle shop, nothing special. But in the comments, there was this guy, a foreign name. He wrote something like, "Miss you already, babe, counting the days." It hit me like a punch to the gut. She hadn't hidden it. She hadn't blocked me from seeing it, but she didn't respond to it either. I stared at it for a long time, reread it more times than I should have. My heart was beating fast and my brain was going in circles. Was he an old fling? Someone she forgot to delete? Was he just being hopeful? Or was I the side story here? Maybe this was the guy who was sending her money. I didn't blow up at her. I didn't even bring it up right away. But that night, when we video called, I couldn't look at her the same way. She noticed something was off. "What's wrong?" she asked, head tilted slightly, her voice soft. I played it cool. Just said I was tired, that I'd had a long day. But the truth was, I didn't know what to believe anymore. Later that week, I finally asked, casually, like I wasn't really bothered. "So, some guy commented on your post, sounded like he misses you." She paused, just for a second, then said, "Oh, he used to be regular customer. I don't talk with him anymore." I nodded, tried to smile, said, "Okay." But the thing is, I didn't fully believe her, and that's when it hit me. I was at a crossroads. I could either keep going, fully in, ignoring the doubts and trusting her completely, or I could pull back before I got burned. But I didn't do either. Instead, I just stayed right there, in the middle, not letting go, not pushing forward. I've always been indecisive. Even though everything in my head was screaming for answers, my heart still wanted her to be the one. So here I am, back home again, watching the same shows, drinking the same coffee, answering the same emails, but something's different now. And it's not just that I miss the sunshine, or the food, or the noise of Pattaya. It's her. We still talk every day. She sends me pictures of her son, tells me about her day at work, asks if I've eaten. I know that sounds small, but it feels big, feels real. And yet, I keep going back to that comment on her photo, to the quiet pause before she answered, to the way she never asked for anything. But still, somehow, I was giving her more and more of my heart every single day. I've offered to help a few times, and she always says no. Says she doesn't want me to think she's using me, that she wants something real, something honest. But there's still that voice in my head, the one that says maybe I'm being played and just don't see it, that maybe I'm not the exception. Maybe I'm just another guy with stars in his eyes and a phone full of good morning baby messages. My friends say I should walk away, that I'll regret it if I stay. But part of me wonders if I'll regret it more if I leave. Because when I talk to her, I feel happy, calm. Like for once, someone really sees me. So I'm putting this out there. Have you been here before? Have you fallen for a girl in Pattaya and wondered if it was real? Did it end in heartbreak? Or did it turn into something more? I know how this sounds. I know some of you are rolling your eyes already. But if there's even a small chance that she's telling the truth, that she really cares, that this could be something more, then maybe I'm not a fool. Or maybe I am. But either way, I'd really like to know. Thanks for listening, and if you've got advice, real advice, I'm all ears. Thanks to Brandon for sending in his story. Personally, if I was in Brandon's situation, I would run for the hills. The odds are all stacked against him. The only thing that is a bit off is that she doesn't ask for money directly. But that could also be to draw him in deeper, grab the bull by the horns and milk him dry. I think she's just playing the long game. Anyways, what do you guys think? Is he being naive, or could this lead to a successful outcome? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you have a story of your own to share, hit me up. My email is in the description. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and check out the video on your screen right now. I'll see you there.